Welcome back. Welcome back to the Hitstick. How are you, Dallas? Dallas.
Yeah,
How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Good. You ready for football this week?
Hell yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So you want to dive into predictions here for this week? How we feeling about football so far this year?
No, I'm feeling good. Feeling good. Got some exciting games coming up this week.
Yes, sir. I know we missed the Thursday night game. I know it didn't come out to how we predicted it to go. The Falcons definitely did not show up in Carolina this week.
No, they did not. They got pounded into next year.
Yeah, they didn't play well. I genuinely thought that team was looking better going into the week. They offense looked like it was playing better than I thought it would have. Kyle Pitts looked like he was getting back into the swing of things. His connection with Mariota looked like it was getting a little better. And then they reverted back to not utilizing him at all, which is not great, especially in fantasy terms. I have him in a league, my money league especially, and he didn't show up again. Yeah, Carolina looked much better than I thought anyone would have predicted them to look, especially with PJ Walker at the helm. They looked a lot better. Running game looks insane for them right now. They look really freaking good from what I've seen especially the last few weeks since that McCaffrey trade and opening up for Donta Foreman. He's been lights out, I'd say, for the last like 3 or 4 weeks. You picked that to happen? Did you think that was ever going to happen when they traded McCaffrey?
No, I did not actually. I didn't think. I thought that team would like be a full rebuild. When they lost Christian McCaffrey, I thought that offense would kind of sputter out and they wouldn't really have an identity for the rest of the year. But they seem to just be like committing to like a full like power run. We're gonna shove the ball in your face type of style, and it's worked the last few weeks.
Yeah, it's been crazy. PJ Walker has looked okay. At times he's looked pretty good. I mean, he's not a true NFL quarterback in my opinion. He's not a true starter in the NFL in my opinion, but he's getting by. That offense has definitely done a 180 from what it appeared with McCaffrey in the offense, which is insane to me. That team looked like it was going in a completely different direction as soon as they traded McCaffrey, and they really have surprised me for sure. Now, if you want to dive into our predictions here for this week, you obviously picked Atlanta. I picked Atlanta myself. We're both wrong on that. Because we're recording this after the fact of the Thursday night game, we're not going to add that against our totals for the running, but
Yeah.
let's go through the next game we had was Seattle versus Tampa. You chose Seattle. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the Buccaneers, even though they have one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, they've had a lot of issues, like like moving the ball, sustaining drives, a lot of bad 3 and outs, third and longs, penalties. I'm going with Seattle because Seattle's played very well with Geno this year, and they've got a very balanced offense, running and throwing the football this year. So I think Seattle takes it.
Okay. I am actually going with Tampa in this game, and the only reason I'm saying this is they have a lot of health back on that offensive side of the ball. I genuinely think Tom Brady is going to figure himself out in this game. I think he's a better quarterback than Geno Smith, in my opinion. I don't think Seattle is playing up to par with the top dogs in the NFL. I think they've been playing well, but I don't think they can hang with the top of the line players and teams in the NFL currently this season. I'm taking Tampa this game. I like Tampa. I think they're playing a much better as of late. They're getting better. I think they underperformed early on because of injuries, and I generally think that they're getting back to where they should be as they've gotten healthier over the last few weeks. So I'm going Tampa. You're going Seattle. We'll see how that plays out tomorrow. Next game we have Chicago versus Detroit. You chose Detroit here. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Detroit. They came out like the first 4 weeks were they scored a lot of points in the first 4 weeks, and the Chicago Bears kind of scalped their entire defense. Um, with throughout trades this year, I think Detroit. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, DeAndre Swift is back this week. I could be mistaken on that. I think he is, but um, I think the Lions get another win here simply because the Bears defense is just gone now. And yeah.
Okay. I I went with Chicago this week. Justin Fields has looked phenomenal. That team has looked much better than they did in previous weeks. They've gotten much better as of late. Detroit, on the other hand, despite their getting DeAndre Swift back, yes, they are down Josh Reynolds. I have the injuries over here on my left. Josh Reynolds is out this week, so that's a big loss on the offensive side. They just traded TJ Hawkinson away. That's another top player from their offense that is not playing. He's obviously no longer with the team. They've lost a lot on offense. Yes, they get back their star running back, but they've sacrificed a lot in the passing game, which hurts Jared Goff. And in return, Chicago has gotten a lot healthier. They're playing much better. I see them taking this game. I see Justin Fields having a phenomenal day at home against a team that has not been good this year. They flat out not been good. Their defense has been horrible. Their offense was great early on. I think it's actually stuttered out a little bit. They've slowed down offensively, and their defense has stayed terrible. But I think Justin Fields takes this game at home in Chicago. The next game we have Miami versus Cleveland in Miami. It's a 1:00 game. It's going to be humid. It's going to be hot. This is my team. I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm taking Miami at home. Their passing game has been phenomenal. Their defense is getting healthy. The additions they've made with Bradley Chubb on that defensive side of the football, I think they're going to take this game at home. What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree with you. The best passing football team in the NFL currently. They've utilized Tyreek Hill perfectly in every way, shape, and form. I think the only thing he would like to probably get more this year is probably touchdowns. That's a lower number, starting, first half of the year for him. He's normally in the end zone a lot more, but other than that, this team moves the ball great. I think the Dolphins take this.
I like that. I like that. And I will touch on Tyreek Hill. They've been utilizing him more outside of the red zone. Once they've gotten into the red zone, they're going with their smaller guys, smaller name guys, I would say. They're targeting tight ends more in the red zone. They're dinking and dunking to running backs in the red zone. And they're not really utilizing their star receivers. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, they're utilizing them outside the red zone, getting them passes, and then their wide receivers are doing their job and getting upfield more. Tua hasn't really been going deep as much. I've noticed it. He's not really throwing the ball deep as much since he's returned from his injury. He's been dinking and dunking a lot more, which is not a bad thing. He's a very accurate quarterback when it comes to short yardage passes. He was great in the long ball before he got hurt, and he hasn't really done it as much since he's been hurt. I think he's getting the ball out quicker to avoid getting hit as much, and honestly, I'm happy with that. I don't want to see him get hurt, but I think they're taking this game here against Cleveland in Miami. Cleveland, despite Nick Chubb being Nick Chubb, their offense is not in comparison to the passing game that the Dolphins have, and the defense doesn't compare either. Denzel Ward, yes, great corner. They don't have much outside that. Myles Garrett, yes, great defensive end. But that's it.
Yeah.
So the next one we have Tennessee versus Denver. In Tennessee, what are your thoughts on this one?
If I'm not mistaken, I have the Titans winning. I don't think the Broncos have been very. They've had a couple like their 3 wins. Like it's not like they, you know, blowout victories or wins where it was like the Broncos are going to win this game type of wins. That they've had a very rough season. This is a very different Russell Wilson than I think the NFL is used to seeing. He has not played anything like he played years prior to this. Uh, I think that that team is still looking for its identity right now, and on the Titan side of the things, I mean, Derrick Henry he's doing Derrick Henry things. He's got a 200-yard rushing game this year already. So I think the Titans take it.
He's being the king, that's for sure. The I'm also agreeing with you. I'm going with Tennessee in this game. Denver has looked terrible. That offense has been flat out awful this year. Russell Wilson doesn't even look like he's comfortable in that team. The only thing I will say is it's going to come down to how Derrick Henry performs. Ryan Tannehill's questionable to play. I believe they said he was a game time decision as of now, which in turn, if he doesn't play on Sunday, it would be Malik Willis again at the helm. He's looked okay. He hasn't looked phenomenal, but he's a rookie quarterback, so you can't really make an assumption there yet on Malik Willis. On the defensive side of the ball for Tennessee, though, they have a lot of players out. Jeffrey Simmons is out. Bud Dupree's out. Zach Cunningham's out. Amani Hooker's out. Josh Thompson's out. They're missing a lot on defense. So it's going to be an interesting game. I do think Henry will probably tear it up again against Denver, especially with Denver losing some pieces. But we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. Go ahead.
A little side note. I do think when Malik Willis is starting, that rushing game is like even more opened up for Derrick Henry because Malik Willis is a very good running quarterback.
That is very true. He does have legs. So that gives them an extra weapon to have to focus on a quarterback that can actually maneuver outside the pocket. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that one plays out. We both have Tennessee winning, but we'll see how that goes. This next game, Buffalo versus Minnesota. This is going to be an interesting game to watch and see what happens. Josh Allen is a game time decision. He has not practiced this week. I don't see him playing. But we'll have to see how that one plays out. What are your thoughts on that?
I originally have the Buffalo Bills winning. I know, now Josh Allen has this UCL injury or whatever is going on with him where he's a game time decision to play. If Josh Allen does not play this game, I don't see the Bills winning. I think the Bills offense completely revolves around Josh Allen being on the football field.
I agree with that.
If Josh Allen doesn't play, I think the Vikings win this game. If Josh Allen plays like semi-hurt, I think it'll be a close game. I still got the Bills winning. Obviously, if Josh Allen, like I said, if he doesn't play, I don't see them even like getting 300 yards on the game.
Yeah, I think their offense will struggle if Allen's not on that football field. Case Keenum is not a good quarterback.
yeah. That offense is totally built around Josh Allen being on the field every game of the year.
I agree. I went with Minnesota as my pick, and I'm sticking with it. Even if Josh Allen did play, he was hurt, and we all knew that coming in. If he does play, he's not going to have the arm and the cannon that he normally does have. And that will struggle against the Vikings defense that has been pretty good at times this year. Cameron Dantzler has been phenomenal at corner. You have Harrison Smith in the secondary. Both are playing phenomenal this year. The Vikings offense has looked very good. Kirk Cousins has looked very good this year. I predicted, and if you remember correctly, before the season even started, the Vikings were one of my teams that I thought were actually going to be very freaking good this year, and they've played that way. They're 7-1 coming into this week. They're playing very good football. I like them in this game. Even without the injury to Josh Allen, I think Minnesota would take this game. it's a tough environment up in Buffalo, but I do think that the Vikings will pull it out.
Yeah, they were the Vikings were one of your like sleeper teams
They
all
were,
year.
they were, yeah. Um, we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting. If Allen doesn't play, this game's not going to be close. It's just not. That team relies too heavily on him to run that game. Case Keenum is not going to be anywhere close to the play that Josh Allen brings to that team. If he does play though, I do think they're going to run the ball a lot. So Devin Singletary, James Cook, Naheem Hines, even I know they picked up Naheem Hines.
Yeah.
I just don't see them pulling it off. Even if Allen does play, it's going to be very tough to beat that Vikings offense. I think they're playing much better. Justin Jefferson has looked phenomenal this year. Adam Thielen has been good. I won't say he's been great, but he's been good. He pulls defense away from Jefferson because Jefferson draws the double teams. They now have TJ Hawkinson in that offense as well. I forgot to mention that. So that's another option on that offense for Kirk Cousins. They have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook has been great this year when he's been playing. So that team is getting hot at the right time, in my opinion.
Yep.
The next game we got here, Giants versus Texans. What do you think about this Giants team?
Did not see that at all whatsoever. Even with Saquon coming back into the like the mix of things, this Giants team has shocked me.
Yeah, no, definitely didn't see it either. Daniel Jones has looked great this year. He's looked actually very, very, very good. Didn't see it coming. Not at all. Saquon Barkley has had a resurgence in his career this year. He's the heart and soul of that offense. But Daniel Jones has looked great. He's made plays with the options that he's had. He's had a lot of injuries at wide receiver this year. He's lost his top 3 receivers now that Kadarius Toney's no longer there as well. And he's still made it work. That offense has been actually very good for a team that does not really have much talent on that team. The offensive line has sustained injuries. They lost Evan Neal. And they still made it work. It's a very interesting team. And on the flip side of that, the Texans, they're horrible. Dameon Pierce is their only player. Really. Their offense has looked absolutely atrocious at times. Brandon Cooks, when he's on the football field, hasn't even made plays for them. Like, Davis Mills has nobody to throw to, and when they move the football, it's Dameon Pierce running up the field
for a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Dameon Pierce is the Houston Texans right now, and that's all they have. Their defense is not good. Their offense is not good. I don't see them winning. We both have the Giants winning this game. That's pretty much it. I'll be surprised if Houston does anything against them. They looked good in, the one game they played against Denver. That was about it. And then they played Philly. I don't really know much other than that. I mean, that's about it.
Yeah, the Texans they don't really have an identity as an offense. It's pretty much Dameon Pierce, and if Dameon Pierce has a bad game, it's a rough day if you're a Texan if he doesn't run for 100 yards. So, yeah, that's pretty much all the Texans have, and the Giants on the other side look like a complete football team this year. Playing great both sides of the football, running it, throwing it, defense, good pressure from the D line. Linebackers are playing great. The secondary's playing great. So I think the Giants take this one, no brainer.
Oh yeah.
I'll be shocked if the Texans beat the Giants.
Yeah, it'll be an awakening if the Giants lose this game. The next one, we have the Chiefs versus the Jaguars at Arrowhead. What are you thinking?
Pat Mahomes is gonna be Pat Mahomes, man. He's been playing great this year. He's coming off a 400-yard passing game. Travis Kelce he had a really rough game last week. I think he's gonna get back on track against the Jaguars. I don't see the Jaguars putting up any schemes or game plan to slow down that offense. That offense is playing really well, and on the other side of the ball, defensively, the Chiefs have come up and made big plays against some really great teams. So I think the Chiefs win this. Jacksonville has struggled a lot. Trevor Lawrence is not really playing well this year. He's had a lot of rough games, making a lot of bad reads. I think the Chiefs win.
I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think it's going to be. The only reason I say that is I think the Jaguars are playing better now that James Robinson isn't there. And it's strange to me because James Robinson was a great running back in Jacksonville. He had a lot of good yardage early on in the year. They stopped using him, and that was strange to me. But now that Etienne has taken over the reins at running back, he's definitely been making more plays, and I think it's helping Trevor Lawrence because of the connection those two had at Clemson together. I think it's opening it up more a little bit. I won't say it's opening it up fully for them yet, but I think the connection between him and Etienne and having his star running back from college back with him in the offense, I think they're getting back to where they were at the start of the year when they were playing better. They hit a little rough patch and they stopped running the football. And I think it put too much pressure on Trevor Lawrence towards the middle of the year so far. Kansas City, on the flip side, they just acquired Kadarius Toney, which I like Kadarius Toney. I think when he's healthy, he is a star receiver. That man knows how to move the football. And now that he has Pat Mahomes as his quarterback, I think that connection is going to be ridiculous. They lost Mecole Hardman this week. Hardman is out. Or Mecole Hardman, I think is how it's pronounced. He's out this week. So Kadarius Toney is stepping up into that role as I believe it's the wide receiver 2 behind Juju. That's going to be interesting to see. I'm excited to see Kadarius Toney actually perform with a star quarterback.
Yeah.
In Pat Mahomes. It's going to be interesting. I think this game is going to be closer than people think it's going to be, though. When you think Chiefs, you think tons of points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. I think I'm still taking the Chiefs in this game, but I think it's going to be closer than people think it's going to be.
Okay.
This next game, Saints versus Steelers in Pittsburgh. I don't see the Steelers doing anything in this game. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I have the Saints winning. The Saints, even though they are a kind of pretty banged up football team right now, the Steelers just don't have anything going for them. Kenny Pickett's playing. It's one of the worst rookie campaigns I think I've ever seen from a rookie quarterback. And the thing is, with the Steelers, they have offensive weapons. They have Deontay Johnson. I know they lost. They traded away Claypool, right?
Yes.
But still, they have one of the best receivers in the league, Deontay Johnson. It's like you watch these games, and it looks like Kenny Pickett and him just can't. They don't have like any chemistry. It looks like. I mean, I've seen numerous routes where Kenny Pickett throws too early or throws too late to Deontay Johnson, and you can see the frustration on Deontay Johnson's face.
I think having Pickett running with the twos all of training camp and all of preseason hurts them this year. They don't have the connection because it was Mitch Trubisky all of training camp and all of preseason running with the ones, so they never built a chemistry with his receivers. He's got a rookie wide receiver at number 2 in George Pickens, and that rookie combination hasn't worked so far this year, in my opinion. That offense just doesn't have an identity. It reminds me almost of the Houston Texans. They don't have a true identity. Najee Harris has been terrible for them this year. I don't know what happened to him. He fell off the face of planet Earth from last year because he was great last year. And I know from a fantasy aspect, he is a bust this year for fantasy. Whoever drafted Najee Harris this year is hating their season.
Yeah.
That there's zero production coming from him, which is strange because he looked so good last year, and they didn't change much offensive line-wise. They pretty much returned the same offensive line last year, and there's no injuries on that offensive line that I know of. I will say though that the Saints do have a lot of injuries on that team. That team has been so hurt and they are so depleted offensively and defensively. And they have a lot of injuries still. They're starting centers out this week. Marshawn Lattimore's not playing. Mark Ingram's out. Their starting right guard is out. Pete Werner is out. And they have a lot of people that are still questionable as of right now, which is scary for them, in my opinion, because that is a lot of starters. That is a lot of talented players that are not going to be playing in Pittsburgh tomorrow. The other side of that, the Steelers are down 2 starting corners. William Jackson, who they just traded for, he's not playing. He's actually hurt. It's not being withheld because of like being new to the team. He's hurt. Akella Witherspoon, the number 2 corner there, is out. He's hurt as well. But they're pretty healthy outside of that. It's looking like everybody else has practiced. Another kicker's hurt. He has not practiced this week, so we'll have to see who's kicking for Pittsburgh. I'm taking New Orleans, though. Their team, despite the injuries, has talent on that roster. Andy Dalton has performed well in replacement of Jameis Winston. Yeah, he's been good. He hasn't been great, but he's been good. He's been getting the football down the field. He's moving the football. He's not making too many mistakes. He's made some bad throws, which have resulted in some turnovers, but that team, I think, is more well-rounded, even with the injuries, than the Steelers at this point. So I'm taking New Orleans here. You have New Orleans as well, so we're agreeing on that one. The next game that we have here, we have the Raiders versus the Colts. We're both taking the Raiders here. I don't see anything happening with the Colts in this game. That organization is a disaster right now. They just fired their coach. They fired their offensive coordinator. They hired Hall of Fame potential Jeff Saturday as their interim head coach, and they have a guy who's never called plays in the NFL before calling plays tomorrow. And they don't have a good quarterback. So I don't know what the hell the Colts are freaking doing.
I will say, though, I do think we're going to see a Colts team come out this week and play like they have nothing to lose, because they really don't have anything to lose right now.
They don't. They really
Jeff
don't.
Saturday knows how to win football games. He did it his whole career. I think that team will come out swinging. I don't know how hard their swing will be, but I do think they'll come out swinging. The Raiders have really underperformed this year. I think that team is a lot better than a 2-6 record. I don't know what's going on in Las Vegas. I really don't.
I think they lack identity too. It's crazy to me because they added Devontae Adams. Like, he's the best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. And he's still performing, but not at that level, and the offense isn't doing anything around that. Josh Jacobs, who the team is letting go, which is insane in my opinion, he's playing for money at this point. Like, he's just earning more and more money for another team. He's been insane.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah, you have that going for that team. Derek Carr, I don't know what's going on with him. He's been good, but not great. He's not utilizing his offensive weapons like he should be. That team should be putting up points like the Chiefs do, and they're not. And their defenses looked bad. I don't know what Josh McDaniels is doing out there in Las Vegas. I really don't. I think they'll still pull out this game just by the sole fact that I don't think the Colts have anything going for them. They have injuries as well. Jonathan Taylor was a full participant in practice, so he's playing. So that's good for them. But they don't have Shaq Leonard in this game. Deion Jackson's out. He hurt his knee last week. They also don't have Jelani Woods on offense, so they're lacking a tight end. They have Mo Alley Cox, but Jelani Woods is definitely better. That dude's just a fucking beast.
Yeah, and he's huge.
He's
really big tight end.
He is. But injuries on that team, I just don't see them pulling it out in Vegas. It's just not. They don't have
That's a
they
hard
don't
stadium
have
to win as
direction.
well.
That
Yeah.
team is just a disaster. It's gonna be Raiders all the way for me. Next game we got the Rams versus the Cardinals. This one's gonna be an interesting one with all of the injuries to both of these teams. Your thoughts so far on this one?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I have the Cardinals winning this game.
That is correct.
Uh, I think since the return of DeAndre Hopkins, that offense it did like a full turn, and it was a turn kind of in a good direction. I mean, Kyler Murray been moving the ball way better since his return. Uh, and on the other side of the ball, we have the Rams, who are the reigning Super Bowl champs, not really playing like Super Bowl champs. Matthew Stafford's kind of had some, a few bad reads, a few bad passes. Cooper Cup is still playing well, obviously. Aaron Donald is playing well, but I don't know, man. That team something doesn't look right. Every week they come out and the games are close, but
They've come out flat in the first halves. First quarter, I don't think they're scoring well at all this year. If I'm not mistaken, and wasn't able to find that on that, but they have come out flat early. And if I'm not mistaken, they've come out and they've been down, and having to play from behind is always tough in the NFL.
yeah.
And especially with a team that has not been performing up to par with what they should be, that's very tough. For the Cardinals, there's injuries, and for the Rams, there's injuries. Both starting quarterbacks are questionable. I do believe they're both game time decisions tomorrow. Kyler Murray with a hamstring and Matthew Stafford with a concussion. I don't believe Stafford has cleared protocol yet, so that is going to be interesting to see come tomorrow. I don't know if he'll be eligible to play or not. I do know that if he does clear and he is eligible to play, he's going to play. There's no way they don't go in to that game, especially a divisional game, with a quarterback that is not their starter.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, they're both game time decisions, so that'll be interesting. Max Garcia's out for the Cardinals, and it looks like Rodney Hudson, their starting center, is also out with injuries. So the Cardinals are going to be down offensive linemen. There's a lot of questionable players for tomorrow. Looks like a bunch of them. Byron Murphy didn't practice all week, so he's going to be probably out more than likely. And then on the flip side, Aaron Donald didn't practice all week. I don't know about all that, so we'll have to see. I am taking the Rams in this game. If Stafford doesn't play, I'm probably going to lose that. If Stafford doesn't play, this team's not winning. Even if Kyler Murray doesn't play, I don't see the Rams winning this game. They don't look good. I don't know if did Cam Akers play last week? I know he was active.
I think he did. I think he had a few snaps.
Okay, so that'll be interesting to see. If Stafford doesn't play, that team's not winning the football game. I'm taking the Rams. You're taking the Cardinals. We'll have to see how that plays out. Next game, Dallas versus Green Bay. It's in Green Bay up at Lambeau. I believe it's cold up there, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
Potential for snow, if I was seeing things right. I'm not too sure on that one. Green Bay has been horrible this year. Dallas is hot right now. They're getting hotter and healthier. Thoughts on that one?
I think Cowboys all the way here. You have a complete football team. Great two great running backs. I don't know if Zeke's back playing in this game, but it doesn't matter because Tony Pollard is playing great. Dak, you know, receiving core great for the Cowboys. Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb have been exceptional this year. Dalton Schultz, their O line is one of the best O lines in the league. And then you go on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, weapons everywhere for the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are just. I I don't see the Packers with how Aaron Rodgers has been playing and how that team is right now. doing much of anything against this Cowboys football team.
Yeah, the Cowboys are definitely a more complete team. And if I remember correctly, and I'm looking at this right, the Packers are hurt bad this week.
Yeah.
Coming in, they had a bunch of injuries last week. I believe they left last week with 5 players in walking boots and on crutches, which is never a good sign, especially going into a game against a team that has nobody injured. Zeke was the only one coming in. He's still questionable. He did practice at a limited amount this week. And there's only one player that's inactive as of right now. Anthony Barr's not playing for the Cowboys, but they have depth at linebacker as well. So I don't think it's going to be much of a loss for Anthony Barr being out. He has been great for them, but I think they have the depth to get by without him this week, especially against this Packers team. Rodgers has looked terrible, and they have so many people out this week. Devondre Campbell's inactive. Got Romeo Dobbs or Doobs, he's out this week. Eric Stokes is inactive. Chris Barnes is doubtful. Got a bunch of people who are questionable. It's going to be ugly, I think, in Green Bay this week. I don't see them winning. I am taking the Cowboys. You're taking the Cowboys. I think that's all that needs to be said about that game.
Yep.
The Sunday night game is going to be an interesting game. It's the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Chargers. What are your thoughts on this one?
Well, obviously the 49ers have had a huge spark in their offense, acquiring Christian McCaffrey, and he essentially has done literally everything that you can do on the offensive side of the field in a football game. He's come in, touchdowns, receiving. I believe he has a passing touchdown.
Yep.
A passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown. I mean, he's come out, and that offense has an identity now. I mean, they had a pretty solid one beforehand with Deebo Samuel and everything, but you know, for a team that came in and had a shaky start, I mean, they lost Trey Lance week 2,
Yep.
week 2 this year, and kind of looked like they were, you know, figuring stuff out. But since acquiring Christian McCaffrey, this team looks great.
McCaffrey's filled that Deebo Samuel role to a T, and it sucks because Deebo is a very talented player, but I feel like he has taken a step back in that offense with McCaffrey now filling those shoes as that star running back, receiver, flex guy. Jimmy G has looked great. He always has. I think he honestly probably should have still been a starter at the beginning of this year. They obviously had a plan in place to have Trey Lance develop behind him for a year and then take the reins over. I don't think Jimmy G should have been there, in my opinion. So they were lucky when Lance went down that Jimmy G was still there, and he stepped right in and did what Jimmy G does. He won his first game as soon as Lance went down. He came in and played a great game and won that game, and he has been good since he has taken over. That offense has only gotten better, in my opinion, and adding a star player like Christian McCaffrey to a team that was already good just makes them much better. And honestly, I don't see them losing this game. The Chargers, they've been hurt. They still have injuries. Keenan Allen has not played this year practically. I think he got hurt week 1 and hasn't touched the football field since. Or he did. He played right before the bye week and got hurt again. And now he's out again. So, like, that team, injuries have piled up for them. They're playing good despite those injuries, but playing against a team that has everybody back basically, and they're all playing great, I don't see them winning against San Francisco. It's just, it doesn't add up to me. Herbert has options, but he's lacking Mike Williams, he's lacking Keenan Allen. So that tells me he's got his number one target for receiving at the moment is his running back in Austin Eckler. They have Josh Palmer. I don't know who the hell they have outside that, though, at wide receiver. I really don't know that team that well, but they don't have anybody that I know of. If I'm remembering correctly, it's Josh Palmer, and then they have a bunch of guys that they've called up from the practice squad basically this week at wide receiver. So I don't see them winning in San Francisco on Sunday night. I just don't. Herbert's been good. He's been hurt. He can step up. He's definitely not playing up to his potential, and the injuries are definitely the cause of that. And that's unfortunate, but it's the way the NFL works. You have to step up. People have to step up when there's injuries, and they're just not doing it, in my opinion. Nobody has made a step up to a point where there's a star player right now. Herbert's just playing good. He's not playing great, but he's been hurt. Eckler has been phenomenal, but he's their only star player outside of Herbert at this point. Their defense has been hurt. They lost Joey Bosa. I just don't see it happening. As of now, Keenan Allen's out, like I said. Mike Williams is out. Their kicker's out, so that rookie kicker is going to be kicking again for them tonight or tomorrow night. There's injuries down the line for them. Outside on the other side, Eric Armstead's out for the 49ers. Jason Verrett's out, and Samson Abukum is doubtful. But that's everybody for the 49ers. So yeah, the 49ers definitely are getting healthier. They're getting better. They're getting hot, in my opinion. I'm taking the 49ers in this one. And then the Monday night game. My fiance's team, the Eagles, playing the Commanders in Philadelphia. We're both going to Philly here, right?
Oh, that's not even that's not even a question. I mean, that Philadelphia team has come out and said, "Hey, we're the best team in football," and it's not going to stop anytime soon. The Commanders, there's no chance with Taylor Heineke taking over. He looked okay last week. I mean, a couple questionable plays, I'd say, but it doesn't even matter. That Eagles team is they're doing everything right. They can do no wrong, and they will do no wrong against the Washington Eagles. Win this game, not even close.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The only thing I will say is if you look at the schedule, they haven't really played anybody. And when it comes down to it, strength of schedule makes a difference. It does. Yep. But they have been playing great. So even though they've been playing teams that are beat up and teams that aren't as good, they are still playing great football. They're playing smart football. Jalen Hurts is not making too many mistakes. He's made some mistakes. He has. But they're playing smart football. They're using their targets. They're utilizing everybody on that offense. Everyone's eating. Miles Sanders looks great. Their backup running backs have been great for them. Boston Scott has stepped up phenomenally this year. He's taken over the number 2 role behind Miles Sanders this year. Kenneth Gainwell, I thought, was a great number 2. And he's disappeared on that offense for some reason this year. I don't know why, but Boston Scott's stepped up to take that role as the number 2 back behind Miles Sanders. Dallas Goedert's looked good. A.J. Brown has looked amazing this year in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That dude looks like a top 5 receiver. If he isn't, he looks like one. And if he is, then yeah, he's been insane. Devonta Smith has looked good on that offense. They have depth at receiver behind those 2 guys. Obviously, Quez Watkins has looked good. I can't remember who else is there, but they have depth at receiver. Tight ends have been playing well. That offensive line has been great for Jalen Hurts. Hurts has looked phenomenal this year. The defense has been great. Everybody has stepped up on that defense. There's been injuries, but people have stepped in to fill those roles. Josh Sweat has looked great there at defensive ends. You have Brandon Graham, obviously. Fletcher Cox in the middle of the line. He's obviously Fletcher Cox. He's one of the best. The linebackers have stepped up. The corners have been great. The addition of C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the secondary has been
that's been
night and day. He jumped right in as like a captain of that offense. He runs that defense, in my opinion. Did I say offense? Meant defense. He's been a captain on that defense this year. He's stepped up and filled that role. He's basically the leader on that defense. Him and Slay, they literally run that team, and they are scary.
Bradbury is their cornerback too, and if I'm not mistaken, those 2 dudes lead the league in quarterback rating. They've not allowed quarterbacks to do what they want with their receivers.
Yeah,
And their team
no,
has played great defensively.
they're night and day. Um, Injury wise, I do know that Commanders are a little bit beat up. J.D. McKissick is out this week. Cole Holcomb is out this week, and David Mayo is out this week. So they're lacking 2 linebackers. The Eagles, I don't believe anybody is hurt. They have a bunch of limiteds in practice, and it looks like Avonte Maddox didn't practice this week. But outside of that, I don't believe that they are in any shape or form going to be in a scary position against the Commanders team that just is not that great. Offensively, the Commanders just don't have identity. I think that's a big common story in a bunch of these teams this year is there's just no identity when it comes to offense. Quarterback play hasn't been great. Running backs aren't that great. Offensive lines aren't great. Receivers, they have talent, but when you don't have a quarterback that can throw you the football, you just disappear. And I think that's the biggest story for the Commanders is the receivers have talent, but they don't have a quarterback to get them the football. So taking Philly here, I think Philly goes to 9-0. I think they are going to continue this run for the foreseeable future. We'll see, though. You want to go over the playoff hunt and see where we're at right now?
Sure.
All right, so obviously, you got the top seeds in Buffalo and Philly. I think that's accurate this year. The Bills have been one of the best teams in the AFC. Them and the Chiefs right up at the top. Eagles, obviously the best team in the NFC. There's no question about it. They are the best team. You can't say anything else until they lose a game. So, Minnesota definitely is a 2 seed there. They're 7-1. I think they're going 8-1 this week. I don't think they're gonna lose to Buffalo. We'll see on that one. The 3 seeds, Baltimore and Seattle. I think that's accurate. Seattle's been playing great. Baltimore's been playing great. They're not gonna change though this week because they're on a bye, so they'll stay the same there. The 4 seeds, Tennessee and Tampa. Tampa obviously by rule because they're in first place at the moment in the NFC South. Tennessee, with all the injuries and the question marks at quarterback, that could change this week. We'll have to see on that one. The 5 seeds is the Jets and the Cowboys. I think that's accurate. I think both teams have been playing great. The Jets have been great this year. Losing the running back may hurt them, especially come playoff time. I think that offense could end up getting one-dimensional, and if that pressure gets to Zach Wilson, I think they could struggle. Dallas, they're getting hot, so they're on their way up in the NFC. 6 seeds, Miami and the Giants. Giants by rule because of being in that same division with the Eagles. They are currently in 3rd place in the NFC East. I'm assuming they're tied in the NFC East, but they hold that tiebreaker.
Yeah, they hold a tiebreaker with the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, no, the Cowboys have the tiebreaker over the Giants at the moment. So I think that's accurate there. Miami, I see them moving up in the AFC. I really do. I hold them anywhere from the 4 to the 6. I don't believe they will top the Ravens, in my opinion. I think they're going to end up being close. So I know they hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens, so that'll be interesting to see later on in the year.
Yeah, the Ravens have a really easy schedule for the second half.
The Dolphins have a tougher schedule. Coming off a bye week next week, I believe they're on a bye. So we'll see how that goes towards the end of the year. 7 seeds, 49ers and Chargers. Those are accurate. Chargers are in a tough spot. They have a bunch of people fighting for them. Patriots, Bengals, those are guys that could slide in above them. They're in a tough spot, especially with their injuries. 49ers definitely are solidified in the playoffs. I don't care what anyone says. That 7 seed is theirs. Behind them, you have the Commanders, the Falcons, the Rams. Yeah. So those guys are on the bubble. Colts should be falling off. Browns, Broncos, Jaguars, Raiders, Steelers, Texans in the AFC.
I think it's interesting that we might see both Super Bowl teams not even make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, that it's wild to think about, but I mean, it very well could happen, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's one heck of a drop if I've ever seen one. To be fair though, the Bengals played above and beyond to get to the Super Bowl last year. Um, and yeah, the Rams were just good all year.
Yeah, the Rams just aren't playing the same. Like no one's
that I'm used to seeing.
No one's playing like they used to or like they did last year. It's a different offensive line, so I don't know if the changes on that offensive line have changed how that offense rolls. Their running back play has been terrible. Stafford is definitely regressing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's obviously not the same as age goes. He's getting older, so he's falling off. They don't have a replacement for him either. That's why I don't think they win this week if he's hurt, out. Yeah. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things go. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we wrap things up here?
I think that's pretty solid. We hit on all the games, and I don't know. I don't think there's any other like big news going on in the league right now.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we missed the trade deadline by a few weeks, so we won't have anything like that to talk about for the foreseeable future. I do know the OBJ signing will be interesting to see.
I think that is the biggest talk right now is who OBJ is going to go play for.
I don't know. I can't even tell you who's interested in him. I haven't looked into that as much as I should have. Probably.
I know on Twitter, Micah Parsons put out a full pitch to get him to become a Cowboy. So.
And Von Miller has done the same.
Yeah.
With Buffalo.
Giants, he's responded to the Giants, and I think there have been a few hints of him coming to Baltimore. Don't know though.
He's going to go to a team that is playoff caliber and Super Bowl caliber teams. So if the Josh Allen injury turns out to be worse than it actually is, and that's a scary injury in and of itself, I don't know if Buffalo is even an option for him, because if Allen can't play, who's going to throw him the football? And I don't think that's what he wants.
Yeah.
So I think Buffalo is out of the question. So Giants, Ravens, Cowboys, I think that's really it. The Packers are out of the question because they just flat out suck.
Yeah.
I think that's really all of the teams. Honest to God, I genuinely think the Cowboys could end up signing him. As crazy as that sounds, I think because they're getting hot right now and Dak Prescott looks great, I think adding the addition of OBJ to the receivers that they have there, Dallas is a very good option for him.
Yeah, I think the favorites right now, from what I've seen, I think it's New York, the Giants, and then the Cowboys are probably his
in that order. I like that.
I think. I mean, obviously, OBJ has love for the Giants organization.
Yeah.
I don't think that's even up for question. But yeah, I think it's in that order. I think if he signs with a team, it'll be the Giants or the Cowboys.
I think
Ravens are a potential pick, but I don't know if he'll come to Baltimore. I don't think he would. It's totally different atmosphere and offense than what he.
Yeah, the Ravens are definitely a run heavy offense. Even with a quarterback that has a good arm, they stick to the run game more than they do the passing game, and they lean on it more too. More so than other teams. Other teams more rely on the run game to open up the passing game, but the Ravens don't do that. They run the football to then run the football more.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll run the football 50 times a game if they need to.
Easily.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I guess we'll have to wait and see what OBJ decides to do. He's definitely going to a team. It's a matter of just where at this point. All right, so we will have to see how the games play out for this week. I believe the Tampa game is early tomorrow. It's a 9:30 game, I think, in Germany. So I don't know if I'll be awake for that game or not, but we'll have to wait and see how things play out. I guess we will catch you guys in the next episode. All right. Well, I will catch you guys then. You guys have a good one. Dallas, I'll catch you later.
Yep.
All right, brother. All right. Peace.